Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. Okay, so we're going to look at the bottom of this thing, and you're going to notice that we've got a 5/16 hole here and a about a it's even beyond 3/8 there. It looks like somebody helicoiled it and then it blew the helicoil out. So my customer wants me to grind this out and re-weld it with aluminum and then remachine the original bolt size in there. So we're going to back you up a little bit here. Yes, there. And we're going to start grinding. So hold your ears. All right, we got a bunch of aluminum jammed up in the head here. I think what I'm going to do is just take it over to my wire wheel and just dig all that stuff back out. So we will come back. All right, we're back. We got a cleared bit. Plug it in. And we're off and roll it again. All right, well, I think we've got ourselves a pretty good looking weld. I don't know if you can see it there or not, but you know, I mean, it isn't it isn't the prettiest weld in the world, but it's built up enough that I can grind it back and get that shape back in, and then come back in and square up this top edge. Now, the one thing that I'm seeing as I welded it is the inside right there. We're going to point with my screwdriver. It's possible there's a crack right there. And if that's the case, we'll go in and we'll have to grind that back out again and re-weld that little area right there, because if that was a crack, that's why the threads kept stripping out. So we'll let this thing cool down a bit and then come back to it. I'm looking inside of here, and sure enough, there's a crack. So we're going to go in there and clean that out and then throw a weld on that beast. Okay, so we've got the contour ground fairly well. Now we need to come in and do a flat. So I put it in the vise and I've given it a little support back here. And now we're just running across that surface and seeing what we can do about getting a nice flat surface. And we're pretty close. All right, there it is right there. Yep, that looks pretty good. Now we still got to come in and finish the contouring off, but at least we got a nice flat spot to drill a hole. Well, the next phase of this whole project is to make the set of triple clamps for the front end. And we laid them out, and we're going to have them water jetted out, but they wanted so much money to do that, I thought, well, I mean, hey, I can mill it out. And I put all that money in my pocket rather than give it away to some other company. So we're going to go ahead and do this. We need to do our layout here, and then we're just going to cut it with the saw and end up with what we need, and then just put it on the mill and mill it out. And this is a 4140 that we're working with, and you know, I've got it from McMaster-Carr. I ordered cold roll, and what I got was center ground. I was like, oh my God. So we're going to go for 4 inches and 100 thousandths. And our width is 8 inches. So there's 8. All right, there it is right there, that perimeter. Now what we can do is we can flip this over, because we're going to have pretty much the same design, a little bit different, and run it down here so that we have a lot of extra room to play with. And we will be back once we get there. All right, well, while we have our piece of steel cutting at a really weird angle, and the way I did it was to toe clamp it down. So there's one here and one over on that side. So we're just kind of working our way through that piece of 4140, and then we turn it around and cut the other direction, and we'll have most of it cut up. We might want to cut some corners off and stuff like that, but for now we cut out our basic pieces on the bandsaw. We just cut some rough corners. And then I laid out all my lines to get the center holes in the right place. And I've set a gap between them. And now I'm coming in and I'm just cutting this front edge so that we have equal edges and we know where we're going to start from. So, hey, we just keep cutting.
All right, well, we got this front section at least squared up and polished, flat. We're going to go and run down the perpendicular of that and just bring it back to where it wants to be. And we'll be doing that right away. Okay, we're gonna lay this thing out one more time now that we have a straight surface here and a straight surface there, and these are all squared up. We can come in and do our permanent layout. The earlier layout was just pretty much temporary because we didn't know where we were going to land. And so we'll take this bit out and we're going to put a scribe in and scribe a line right down the center of that so that we have our center line parallel with this front edge. And I think we already loosened that. Yes, we did. Take out the collet. There we go. Find some kind of scribe. And I'm thinking our tap follower would probably do a really good job. There we go. Okay. And we're going to come down and look for 7/8. And, you know, it's 7/8 generally. The accurate part is that this hole and this hole need to match up. And that's why we have them stacked like this. I want to do one thing first and make sure that we didn't move. And we didn't. And that looks good. Okay, so we can just hit it with a 7/8, which is right there. Boy, that's right on the money. Wait a second, just a little bit off. Well, that's it right there, 7/8. Okay, we're going to put just a little bit of pressure on that tip. And we'll just drag it down all the way down the line. There we go. Now, how close is it to this side? Not very. Well, I'm telling you, something got moved. Well, here we are once again, working on these triple clamps, It's the next day. I think it's a Saturday, very calm, easygoing Saturday. We're just gonna drill some holes in the 3 areas where there's a hole is going to be, but the larger holes are going to be. And we're just drilling little small ones, maybe something close to 1/8 of an inch. It doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to drill the holes in the upper clamp, same thing, and then line the holes up with with the 2 clamps and stack them like I did earlier, so that we've got we're in line with each clamp. So basically we're going to just be drilling holes for the next 10 or 15 minutes, so follow along. All right, done deal. We got our 3. Now we're going to stack them and see how close my holes are. And they don't really need to be close. They just need to be able to slide inside of each other, so they'll index the area. And I think what we'll do is get a piece of welding rod. All right, now let's start stacking these babies. First we set a couple of spacers in here. Then we get our bottom triple clamp. You know, I'm thinking before we do any of that, I had better tram this baby in and make sure we're pretty square. Because if we're not, that'll be a disaster. Okay, so we're all trammed in, we're ready to go. Let's put our spacer blocks in place. There's 2. We're going to drop our bottom triple clamp in. Bring the spacer blocks back. You know what? I think I'm going to come in and go ahead and sand this front edge because it's a little rough. So I'll be back. All right. Well, we got that in. Now we want to put a couple of spacer blocks in between here and here. So just kind of bringing it back so that it's not in the way. And bring our other triple clamp in. All right, that gets us started. Now we just kind of wiggle it around until we find the hole. There's 1 drop. There's another drop. Where's our 3rd one? Come on. All right, we're gonna lift it up and see what happened here. Missed by a mile. Well, it looks to me like we're missing the hole by about a 1/16. It might be further. No, not too much. All right, we're gonna have to figure this out.
I'll
Okay,
be
well,
back.
not that we've figured anything out with this. We've got these two holes which are critical to getting the tubes to go straight. And so we're gonna take this hole here and we're gonna run a center punch down. And I'm thinking maybe here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And put ourselves a little dent and see where we're at. Now let's see if if we're centered this way. Somewhere in there. And somewhere right around there. Yep. Little tap with a hammer. And take our pins out. And let's see where we're at. Way too high. So, okay, well, I know what we can do, because this is in the right place. This is not in the right place. So we'll just reverse these. Put that one there. This one here. Okay. All right, we're down. Now let's set it up again. Okay, all the way back, all the way forward, find center ground, all the way side, all the way the other side, find center ground, and we're set. All right, there's our center punch right there. So that'll give us, that's gonna bring this in closer, which is no big deal. And I think we saved it just by the skin of our teeth. Now we're gonna go ahead and get a little closer here. Come on. Well, no wonder. We got a burr. Yeah, there we go. Now, it should be someplace close by. There we go. All right, there's an exact pin. And we could probably come in and use the next size down and get much closer here if it's going to go in the hole. And it almost does. God, look at that. That's pretty good. Okay, that one works. Let's take it to the next size down. There we go. Now there is a good tight slide. And we got all the room we need, and this is centered. Let's make sure. I'm almost positive it is. But I have been wrong. There's center, and that should center out there. That's pretty close. Yeah, and so that's reasonably close. All of these are going to get laid in with the mill, so they'll be slightly off one way or the other. It shouldn't be a problem. The one thing we want to do now is we want to get this front edge squared up with the mill itself, so we have all of our holes in the right place. So, and we're nice and tight. So all we need to do, and this is where we have to find our scale. It's here somewhere. Okay, we took our mini square and we brought it in, and I'm just pretty much eyeballing this in play here. The fact is that whatever it ends up being, the mill will take anything out, and you know, we're 5/1000ths off one way or the other. The mill's going to take a nice cut there, and it'll be fine. So we've got that. We've got this. That's where it needs to be. These two are located into one another. So what we're going to do is clamp it down now. Let's find our center line, and we're going to go out 3.5 inches on each side of that and drill our holes. And once again, everything is pretty loose. So at this point, we have, probably 1/8 of an inch of play in any direction on any of these measurements. So the center line can be a little bit flexible. So, drop this down. Bring our center in. Get my close glasses because I need them. And we are dead center right there. Let's go back to our edge. And I'm going to come in, maybe 20/1000ths or so, just to allow myself a little bit of room to kind of finish up this roughness right here. And I don't see it being more than about 20. So that's good for that. We'll zero out the DRO. We'll put it on, we'll get it off of absolute. So we have that original measurement. Okay. Take it back up in the air. From here to the center of these holes is 7/8. So that's 875. Let's do that. 875. And then we're going to go from center line to the center of our hole, which is 3.5. We'll be back. All right, so we're 875 in, and we want to take this over 350. $353, $350. I know it's being picky with that tint, but it makes me feel better. Okay, we're going to bring this over further because I just remembered that the bottom clamp has a bigger radius to it.